Hi, welcome back to the Independent Thinking Online Children's Book Festival. I keep calling it an extravaganza because that's what it is, speaking to over 40 amazing authors and a whole range of different aspects of children's books, children's authors, books for parents, books for teachers. And each one comes at things in a slightly different sort of way. And today here with Avril O'Brien, that's exactly what we're talking about in terms of coming at things in a different sort of way, because her book is all about, well, I'll let her introduce herself and tell us more about what her book is about and how she got to write the book. Avril, welcome.
Hi, lovely to be here, Ian. Thank you very much. Well, our book, Mitchy Titch, All Around the World, is predominantly a yoga book, a yoga story for children. It also doubles up as a lovely story anyway, but obviously the theme throughout the book, as well as the beautiful illustrations from the inside, there are yoga poses to go along with the book, Ian. So that is predominantly the idea behind the book. So, how did I come to write the book? Or initially, how did I come to be in children's yoga? From coming from a very long background of IT management, would you believe? Totally different. I can see you pulling a face there. Totally different. Had my two girls and straight away said, I'm not going back to that world. No chance. And after many years of being at home with the girls, having a huge operation on my leg in which I couldn't actually walk for 8 years, wheelchairs, crutches, and then eventually was told I was going to walk with a limp for the rest of my life, and I said, no, I'm not. So I went back to my beloved yoga, and within 6 months I was walking correctly. And at that point I said, right, I need a job that I can still have all of these holidays off with my children, have the summer holidays, Easter, everything else. What can I do? And I started looking, and then I thought, right, okay, I'm loving being with the girls, so I need something definitely with children. And what do I love? I love yoga. So at that point, I went and totally retrained to be a children's yoga teacher with Michelle at Mitchy Titch. And Mitchy Titch was based down in Birmingham at the time. And I travelled down there, did my training. It's from birth to age 12, so a good age range. And I became part of the Mitchy Titch team. And I did that for, must have been 5, 6 years. And then Michelle approached me, and after I'd just won an award, a Mum and Working Award, which was great. And Michelle approached me and asked me would I like to buy the business. So of course I jumped at the chance. So after another 6 or 9 months trying to get this money together, I jumped in with both feet. Totally naive, never run a business in my life. But you know, if you don't go for these things, you don't learn, do you? So in 2015, I bought the business, and here we are, 6 years on. I obviously like saying 5 years because the last year doesn't seem to have happened.
Yeah, I know how that feels. Yeah.
So yes, I've just worked through the business and in the business. So I'm still doing yoga sessions myself because I can't give them up. I love doing them. I'd really miss them. So just keep going as long as I can. My leg is fine now. So, you know, I have a little bit of a wobble on it. So I tell the children the story behind it because it helps them realize that no matter what your ability, you can still do what you want to do. So that's a good story for the children as well. Um, I've always made up yoga stories, and one day a good friend of mine said, why don't you write a book? Had a good think about it. Thought, which of my stories do I like the best? And it was all around the world. So I had a good think about it. Another of my friends, Jude Lennon, who is also an author, obviously, rhymed my book for me. So hence the beautiful, beautiful rhyming words within the book. And Jude is in Liverpool, so that's great. We do get to meet up. And hopefully Jude will work on my next book with me as well. And then I found the wonderful illustrator, Helen Robinson, who lives over in Wales. So I get to do a good couple of trips over to Wales as well, which is also good. And together we brought my book. I take the book into schools and do author visits, as well as just using it within my yoga sessions. So I do yoga sessions across Liverpool in schools and in private sessions as well. I help children. I sometimes have children referred to me from the hospitals. So I'm working with a couple of children on one-to-ones at the moment, and I also do baby and toddler groups, which are great because you see how they develop. So that is wonderful too. I couldn't honestly, Ian, pick an age range. They are all wonderful in their own way. So when we go into schools, I'll give you a typical week. This week I've worked from a nursery in a school right up to age 6, right up to year 6. So it's the full range in schools. The little ones love the stories, so all of the popular stories and the traditional stories we convert into yoga stories for them. So a simple one this week, Teddy Bear's Picnic. They'd already done in school the week before, so I came in with the yoga version of it this week, and they absolutely adored it. Had great fun, and I have fun too, which is brilliant. And then
I have to interrupt you there because that's piqued my interest. What would a yoga version of Teddy Bear's Picnic entail?
What would it entail? Okay, so we're going on a trek with our teddies to find a beautiful spot for a picnic. So we're putting on our backpack. All of these we're using as good arm stretchers. We're putting on our wellies in case it's muddy in the forest. And then we're going on a stomp right through the forest. We're using our stalk pose to be stomping with our feet. And we get to the forest. Of course, what's in the forest? Lots of trees. Tree pose. Yeah. We climb over a big log of wood, so we use our locust pose lying on the floor. Out comes a little grass snake. We use our cobra. We can hear the birds tweeting in the trees, so we use our magpie pose. Oh, Ian, you can have so much fun.
I love the challenge of it. Whatever story you can create a yoga version. Saving Private Ryan. What's the yoga version?
Exactly. I can't read a book now without seeing yoga poses in my head. So yes, I convert every story I read, which is great.
Yeah, no, I love that. Sorry, you were telling us about your week. So you started off with in the woods with the bears.
With the young ones, and that's great. But as you get a little bit further through the school, maybe years 2 and 3, they start to think they're a little bit more grown up. So I will get them to start creating their stories, and it will only be visual. And we don't write the stories at this point. And it can be visual I take all of our yoga cards into school as well. And I'll give maybe a group of them a number of cards, all our popular ones there, plank and tree, stalk. And they will simply put them into an order. And they'll make up their story by using the poses. So again, that's bringing in the language to it, or if they're using a particular subject in their curriculum, they can make the story to go along with that particular curriculum topic. And then as we get through into years 5 and 6, these are full-blown yogis, and some of the schools I've been working in, I've been there for 4 and 5 years, so I've seen them grow right through school. And we're into full yoga flows, and they're creating their own. It's absolutely beautiful. They're loving the meditation. And I think year 6, it has a real impact on. We're in the last term of school. They're getting ready to go to year 7. They haven't done any school visits this year, so they don't know what their new school is like. So I talk a lot about self-care. And I get them to write all of their answers down about what they're looking forward to, what they're going to miss, what they're worried about. When I collect all those answers together, we talk about it, and it helps them to realise that it's not only them feeling like that. Actually, all of their friends feel the same, but nobody's talking about it. So that is a lovely session, and I ask them to write down all of their favourite yoga poses and the favourite part of yoga. And with that information for the end of term, and so they can show the rest of the school, they create a whole class yoga flow from the yoga poses that they have chosen. And they write their own relaxation for the end of session.
So what you're describing there, because I'm not into yoga and I've never tried yoga. I'm not saying I'm not into it. I've never tried it. And maybe some of the people watching this will have heard of it, but not know what it is, or have just thought of it as just animal-shaped stretching. But what you're describing is something far more holistic in terms of thinking about thoughts and well-being and mindfulness. And so, can you just before you read us an extract from your book, can you just sort of define what are the benefits? And you talk about impact that it has on children. What do you see? What do the teachers see and the parents see in the children after they've spent time with you?
Certainly. If I talk about the little nursery group that I've seen this week, I only started working with them after Easter, and I did one term with them, and then they said, please will you come back. They've seen such a benefit in their fine motor skills and their gross motor skills. We do lots of little hand movements in yoga, creating flowers and mountains, so it strengthens all of the fingers. We've been doing a lot of balance poses with them, so they can see the improvement in that as well. But also their concentration, they're listening to the story, they're really wanting to join in. So I'm back there this term, which is great. Now, some of the schools I've been in for a long time, we tend to start off in the September term with the little ones to help it become part of their routine. How they come into the hall nice and quietly, how they learn to sit quietly, how they relax at the end. And I will often have a teacher say to me, Avril, how do you get 30 children to lie on the floor all listening to you? And I say, because I talk like this when they're lying down.
You lure them in, relax them.
I lure them in.
Yeah.
I just touched there on concentration, because we're learning in every session. Some sessions are only half an hour, some maybe 45 minutes, but they're learning constantly. They're not sitting at desks writing, they're taking in all of the information, why the poses are good for them, which ones help their digestion. They may have not known what digestion was before. What helps their immune system? What gives it a really good boost to fight these bugs? So we do poses to help that. But also things like their confidence. They haven't got to do as well as the child on the mat next to them. It's all about them. It's not a competitive sport at all. It's about how far you can move, how much you're flexible, and what you take away from it yourself.
Yeah.
So yes, huge benefits.
Yeah.
And because I give the school their own web page as well, when I'm not in school, they can still do all of their relaxations, and they can do a little bit of sitting down in their chair. They can do a little bit of chair yoga in the classroom. So yes, the benefits are immense, Ian.
And especially children with special needs issues, that there are no issues there. If you're talking about if they're in a wheelchair, for example, sitting down yoga is
always an option. Children are, yes, there's special needs if they're in a wheelchair, but children come into school with broken legs, they're on crutches, and we adapt classes to work with children with special needs. So nobody, as I say, it's not a competitive sport, and certainly nobody is left out.
And do the teachers join in?
Mostly yes. Either the teacher or the TAs, but we have some teachers that love it, so they'll always make sure they get into class.
Free yoga lessons for the teachers. I like that. That's good. Yeah.
Especially the relaxation at the end.
Oh yeah. Getting 30 teachers to lie down on the floor and close their eyes. That's not a problem.
I have done it.
Yeah.
I often offer a free after school for during the term for the teachers if they want to come along, and we'll as many want to join in, we'll have a lovely yoga and relaxation session.
Is there a male-female split with the yoga? Is there a sense that yoga is for the women, not for the blokes?
Definitely not. No, I've just started working with a year 5 group that I haven't seen since before the pandemic. And when they came in, oh, they were so thrilled. The first thing they noticed was my new hair. I've really had your hair cut off. And next, they were all telling me what they were up to. But the boys were so eager to get in and get ready to do their yoga. It's lovely to see. They all enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's nice. That's nice. Right, read us a little bit from your book. Show us some of your pictures.
Of course, Mitchy Titch all around the world. So here is Mitchy. This is him doing his little tree pose. But what you will see throughout the book is a monkey. But he is carrying Mitchy. And Mitchy is on every page and you have to try and find him. Okay? Down in the corner we'll see our little yoga poses here. Mitchy Titch loves yoga. He does it every day. The stretches are so good for him. They really help him play. Today's off around the world, so why don't you come too? We'll visit many places with lots to see and do. So we're having a nice stretch through our...
Just bring that up to the camera just a little bit more closely, the pose there.
Yes, of course.
There we go. Arrow, that's arrow. Yeah.
That's arrow. So a nice stretch as we're getting ready to go on to our adventure.
Nice.
We're going to start in England, out in the countryside. We'll cycle to a local farm, a lovely bicycle ride. And here we are, we're at the farm. I wonder what we'll see. A lovely cow, all black and white, standing under a tree. And here is our cow pose, and here is our tree pose. And you will see lots of funny little things as we go through this book. Can you see the little duck walking with all the little ducks behind him? And over in the big old barn, the mice are hiding there. Sheepdog Pip has spotted them. Oh, little mice, beware. Here's one hanging off the fence. And here's our mouse pose.
Yep.
Pip yawns and gives a mighty stretch and chases them away. And now it's time for us to leave. We must be on our way. Our dog pose. We're off to sunny Italy. We're flying there at 4. Don't forget your passports. There's lots to see, I'm sure. And there before us, what a sight! A tower of bricks pale brown, the leaning tower of Pisa. I hope it won't fall down. And here's our leaning tree pose. Now, as we progress through the book, lots of beautiful pictures, lots of finding Mitchy and our yoga poses. He travels through Australia, India, Africa, lots of places, beautiful temples and beautiful dancers with our dancer pose. Australia, we see all of the animals from Australia. Kangaroos, ostriches, koalas, and there's poses for all of these. And then towards the end. But we must fly, it's time to go. Mitchy gathers us round. We're using a magic carpet and it's hovering off the ground. We all jump on, the carpet flies over land and sea. The carpet floats down oh so slow and lands beside a tree. Now here we have our warrior pose to help us balance, just like our yoga monkey on the carpet. We've seen so many lovely things with Mitchy by our side. We hope you have enjoyed it. Mitchy was a brilliant guide. And now we're all tucked up in bed, the candles burning bright. Thanks so much to Mitchy. It's time to say good night. We finish with our candle pose, just ready to lie down and do a nice relaxation.
Oh, lovely. And very well read, I must say.
Thank you. I love story reading.
That's great. And we've got a couple of minutes left, so very quickly, we'll get. Where can people get hold of you? And I'll put the website in sort of at the bottom there. So tell us your contact details. Are you on Twitter? Are you on Instagram? That sort of thing.
Of course, on all of those, our website is mitchytitch.co.uk, and all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, are all at Mitchy Titch Yoga. Nice and simple.
That was good. That's good. Did you do a deal with the Roving Bookshop to make your book available, or did they come directly to you?
Of course we did. Yes, yes.
All right, so I'll put the link to Roving Bookshop as well. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, this is all in partnership with the Sue Atkins Book Club as well. So there's a big group of people supporting each other to get their books out to market.
Yes, and the Sue Atkins Book Club, as I said at the beginning, has been great in bringing my book to the forefront. So.
And you said you had another book that you were working on with Jude and with your Welsh illustrator.
Yes. I'd love to have a series of them, and hopefully, you know, over the next year or two, I'll get some of them out there, Ian. I'm loving yoga, so, you know, trying to fit in a book at the same time, it all becomes a lot, doesn't it? But desperate to get another book out there.
There needs to be the writer pose, or maybe the keyboard pose in yoga, something like
definitely.
that. Avril, that's brilliant. I didn't know yoga had all these sorts of benefits. Like I said, in my head, it was animal-shaped stretching, so I stand corrected. It sounds absolutely amazing, and I can think of many teachers who would really embrace working in this way with all the benefits that it brings. So thank you for that, and good luck with all your plans.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.